And we are live. What's going on? Welcome to the first row. It's your boy Billy Rowe. Today is Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's time for the Wednesday word. That's Wednesday word. Jumping straight into it. Tonight's topic is simply apologize. I always like to start off with what I mean by my topic, and tonight's topic is actually a very straightforward topic. What do I mean when I say apologize? I mean apologize. There's times in life as an adult and even as a kid, but more so as an adult when you should be held more accountable for your actions. There's times when we make mistakes. There's times where we are wrong. There's times where we are malicious. And it's important in those times that we find how to apologize to the person that we offended. It's not so much because we have offended them. It is more so that we are not holding those things internally for ourselves. So that's what I mean by apologize. So tonight I want to share about 5 bullet points with you, 5 tools for the first row that I believe when I was thinking about this topic and kind of reflecting on building the content that I thought would be helpful in approaching the concept of apologize. So jumping straight into it. The very first tool that I came with or thought of when I started thinking about apologize was really, it was kind of counterintuitive. It was almost like asking myself, why do we not apologize? Why, when we know we're wrong, do we not apologize? I'm not talking about when you don't know that you've done something, but when we know we've done something wrong or we know we've made a mistake, why don't we apologize? And really what it came down to for me was a fear of rejection, that we have a fear that we're going to make this apology and that apology is not going to be accepted. And when that apology is not accepted, it's a rejection. It's like, no, you can't say sorry. You can't apologize for what you've done because you've already done it. Even sometimes when you've done it maliciously, no, you can't apologize. However, that fear of rejection should not be the end all be all to why we choose to or choose not to apologize. It's different if you really feel deep down in your heart that you've done nothing wrong. You can apologize that they've taken it that way, but that wasn't your intent. However, it's kind of hard. It's almost like a backhanded apology when you're like, well, I'm sorry you got caught up in your feelings, but that wasn't what I meant. So the first thing is really just letting go of the fear of rejection. Realize that it is not a guarantee that somebody is going to accept your apology, but that should not dictate whether or not you make it. So that is the first tool that I came up with to kind of get over the barrier of just being able to say, my bad, I was wrong on that. So that's the first tool. Let go of the fear of rejection. The second tool that I came up with was, it comes from a saying when they say, swallow your pride. And so I kind of started thinking about, what is pride? I mean, I have pride in my work ethic. I have pride in keeping my apartment clean. I have pride in taking care of the things that I own. So really, is pride a bad thing? And should I be swallowing it, or should I really seek to hold on to my pride? Should I hold on to my pride in a prideful way? So what I really started thinking about was, it wasn't about swallowing your pride. It was really about not letting your ego hide behind your pride. And so that was the second tool that I came up with, was don't let your ego hide behind your pride. Really, it's for me personally, at least, it's not a pride thing like, oh, I'm too proud to say I'm wrong, or I'm too proud to say I made a mistake. What really tends to happen is my ego inflates and it says, oh, well, you don't have to say you're sorry. People make mistakes, whatever it may be. What's going on, Brother Damien? People make mistakes, and that's just the way it is. And people need to accept you for your humanity. What's going on, Brother Bruce? For your humanity. Yeah, humans make mistakes. However, when we allow our ego to inflate, it's really not about swallowing your pride. It's about deflating your ego and being humble enough to come and say, hey, you know what? I made a mistake on that one, and I apologize to you for making that mistake. My commitment is to attempt to do better. So that was the second thing, was don't let your ego hide behind your pride saying, oh, I'm too proud for this, or I'm too good to come and say I made a mistake. No, I make mistakes every day. So I hope people can forgive me of those mistakes and move forward, because I definitely forgive myself. So that's the second thing. Don't let your ego hide behind your pride. The third tool that I came up with was really about being sincere. I can tell you right now, there's probably very few things in life that get under my skin, but disrespect and fakeness, those rank high on the get under Billy's skin Richter scale. So being sincere, what that does is it really lets people know that you're coming from a place of a genuine mistake, that you, even if you maybe intentionally or maliciously did something, if you can come back with like sincerity and be genuine and say, you know what, I did that out of spite, I did that out of anger, I did that out of frustration, that doesn't take away that it was wrong, but I apologize for approaching you like that, or I apologize in my experience and with me, I apologize for cussing you out, because I will cuss you out if I'm pissed off. So and that's just me being real. So it's important to be sincere. The other thing about being sincere is that you'll find that there really is, in a situation where you make a mistake, there really is there's almost nothing else you can do. I would even say it's worse than not apologizing. It's coming with an empty apology, acting like you care, and everybody, oh, you know, I'm sorry, whatever, you know. That'd be like me telling, oh, that's why I don't tell my kids, oh, well, say you're sorry. No. You need to have your sorry come from a place of genuine sincerity, because if you don't, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, it becomes autopilot. And I don't believe in saying I'm sorry on autopilot. And I try to not say I'm sorry. I try to simply apologize. So it's important to come from a place of sincerity, because when you are unsincere or you're disingenuine with your apology, that is actually felt. And then it's like, not only did you make the mistake, or not only did you do something that maybe damaged the other person or whatever it may be, you're now coming back with like salt for that wound and saying, and here's some salt to go with it. I hope you accept this half-butt apology. So being sincere was the third tool that I came up with when it came to apologizing. The fourth tool that I came up with, and I was kind of between the fourth and the fifth. I didn't know which one I wanted to put fourth, but I just decided that this would be the fourth tool. The fourth tool that I came up with was apologize immediately. And I speak from a place of experience with this. So I have people that literally had to wait 3 years, and I'm not exaggerating, to get an apology from me. And it wasn't that they were waiting for the apology. It wasn't that I didn't know I did wrong and I was ignorant. It was simply that I was allowing my ego to inflate, and it was back to, you know, I'm Billy Rowe, so I do things the way I do things, and if you don't like it, you can kick rocks. However, I knew that I had did wrong, so that kind of like that whole little mantra was like this force field to kind of keep from having to apologize. So really, it comes down to apologizing immediately. Now, in this particular situation, I was able to come back 3 years later and actually telephone these people, because there was more than one person that I needed to apologize to, telephone these people and apologize for my actions. But what typically happens, and it happens with me, I think it happens with a lot of us, is we will do something that causes offense, whatever it may be. And it's a misstep, or it's something that we didn't mean to do. It's a mistake. And instead of apologizing, we'll just kind of like fade into the background and hope that it blows over. And instead of apologizing, we never apologize for it. And so what happens is it just sits there and it festers, and people hold grudges, and people hold, you know, ill will towards you, because of the fact that they're like, yeah, that day you were a jerk. That wasn't necessary. And so they may kind of interact with you from time to time, but on the back end, it's like the next time you do something that you may need some grace, they're not going to be really willing to just sit there and take it in 9 times out of 10. They're going to be like, no, I know you're not going to apologize if you're wrong. So now you have this big dramatic argument, because of the fact that they feel like we got to deal with this situation right now, because if we don't, you're not going to apologize. So apologize immediately, because that takes that sweep under the rug mentality and just says, hey, look, I made a mistake. I'm going to expose that mistake to you right here, right now, so that I don't have to worry about this mistake lingering over my head later on down the line. So apologize immediately is the fourth step. The fifth and the final step, or the fifth and final tool that I came up with when I was developing this topic was, well, and I'm going to just tell y'all right now, I'm guilty of this tool. Like, it's hard for me still today, is to avoid validating wrong actions. Sometimes instead of apologizing, what we do is I call blamagizing, or blamagizing. We'll make up a word, blamagizing. You blame the person for your wrong actions. It's like, I wouldn't have done X if you hadn't have done Y. Or in my case, sometimes it's like, I did that because I was so tired and I just didn't have the patience to deal with the situation responsibly. Well, Billy, you're an adult. Well, person watching on the replay or live, you're an adult. So instead of blaming and validating wrong actions and putting that onus on other people for how you treated them, take ownership of that and decide that you're going to do better at treating people better. And that will be, I mean, honestly, that is a greater payoff than an apology will ever be, is to not only just apologize, but to make a commitment to yourself that going forward, you will work harder and strive to treat people better outside of your own emotionals and your own emotions that you're going through at that moment. And that can be hard. I mean, you get cut off on the road, you might want to flip somebody off. You get cut off on the road and somebody risks your life, you might want to, you know, chase that person in the road rage anger incident. But if you can start committing to treat people better, you'll realize that what you will be giving people is grace and understanding, and seeking to understand that they may be dealing with something and this is why, or they may not understand what you're saying and this is what's causing frustration. So you'll work on different ways to reword things. You'll work on different ways to approach things. And overall, you'll start taking the responsibility off of the individual and put the ownership back on you, which is what you have control of. And that's where you want to be, is in control of that situation. So really quickly, I want to go back over the 5 tools that I dropped on you tonight. Now, the first tool, is being let go of the fear of rejection. Get it out of the way. Don't worry about whether they're going to accept it or not. Do what's right because it's the right thing. And if you feel like you need to apologize because you made a mistake, then do so. Number 2 is don't let your ego hide behind your pride. Your pride is okay. It's okay to be prideful or have pride in certain things that you're doing. But what you don't want to do is let your ego inflate and be trying to carry that ego through why you're not apologizing for your missteps. Number 3 is be sincere. If you're not going to come from a place of sincere, genuine care, or I guess I forget the word, but like feeling bad about the choice that you made, then an apology, I mean, again, I think that is worse than giving, it's worse than not giving an apology. So just come from a place of sincerity, apologize for what you really are genuinely sorry for or feel bad about, and then move on. Number 4 is apologize immediately. Don't let it fester. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't think that time is going to take care of it. We see this happen in relationships countless times where, you know, you're in an argument 5 years later and something you did two years ago or 6 years ago comes up in that argument. You don't want to deal with that. So make sure that you're apologizing immediately. And then lastly, 5th is avoid validating wrong actions or blamagizing, putting the ownership on yourself and not setting that responsibility for how you act or react to people in their hands. So those are the 5 tools. As always with the Wednesday Word, I like to share a brief story on what kind of came to me and what helped me develop this particular content. Tonight's story is a story where I got it wrong. Don't judge me too hard, but I tell you guys, I come from a place of transparency and truthfulness. So I don't mind being transparent with you guys about my shortcomings. And so when it comes to this apologize, this came up because of a situation where I was actually on the phone speaking to my son's mother, and I did not exercise the patience that was needed for that conversation, regardless if I was tired, regardless if I had a bad day, regardless if she wasn't understanding me. I didn't exercise the patience that was necessary for that conversation. And so I went from like 0 in the conversation to like a 15. Maybe I started at like a 7 and went to a 15 in the conversation. And so I'm like yelling and I'm cussing and I'm like, what the heck? And going off on her for really no reason other than I had internal frustrations that I was dealing with. Whether some of them were with her or with other things doesn't matter. They were my internal frustrations that I needed to reconcile for myself. So I had to actually take myself out of that conversation. I said, hey, you know, I got to get off this phone because I just can't have a productive conversation. And so I took myself off the phone, and then it was like for like 2 days, I didn't even want to call and say I was sorry or apologize because I knew I was wrong. It's like, dang, I'm over here yelling and cussing and at a 15, and this person is talking to me at a 6, at a 5. They're not yelling, they're not hostile or anything. And so like 2 days went by and I didn't want to apologize. I was like, I know I was wrong. And so I went to my blame-a-jize tactic and was like, I know I was wrong, but you know, I was frustrated and, you know, this is an ongoing issue and these are this and this. And I was just casting it out to everybody else but me. If I would have stopped with, I know I was wrong, then it would have been easier for me to say, I need to apologize for being that loud and being that combative in a conversation where really as co-parents, we need to figure out how to work together. And so again, it's an area where I got it wrong. And so what I did to rectify that was I wrote a long email to not only apologize for that conversation, but to also reiterate, hey, this is how I would like for our conversation and our communication to be. And, you know, it was hard to like swallow that pride and swallow that ego or deflate that ego and say, dang, okay, you know, it's been 2 days and you didn't apologize. But I knew that it was something that's necessary. I really don't want, at the end of the day, my co-parenting relationship with my children to be impacted because I was too caught up in my ego or too scared of the rejection or feeling like I needed some kind of power play, whatever it was. I didn't want that to interrupt and jeopardize a healthy co-parenting relationship. So as I told you, I'm willing to be transparent and let you know your boy got that one wrong. But I'm always committed to going back and trying to do the things that I need to do to rectify the situation. So hopefully those things work. If they don't work, then, you know, that's my ownership to say, how can I make it better the next time? So again, I always appreciate you guys rocking with me on the Wednesday Word. It's just a brief little video for me to kind of share my thoughts, do some soundboarding. I appreciate the people who are watching the video live. If you're watching in the replay, please make sure you click the subscribe button. Click the bell so that you're notified when I'm live on the first row or when I have an intercession on the first row. Other than that, the next content that will be live on the first row will be on Tuesday, December 4th. That will be a first row intercession, and that will be on creating opportunity with Antoine Wade of Black Heights. I hope you guys tune into that because I feel like it's going to be a very eye-opening intercession for those who are trying to find their way in the professional world, those who may not know where they're going in the professional world. I think the brother has strong content that he can share and a great story that will uplift you and help you grow. So other than that, if you like this video, please share this video. If you share this video, please like it. I'm happy to engage with you guys in the comments below. I'm happy to hear what's going on, Cousin Brian. I'm happy to engage with you in the live chat if you are participating in the live chat. But other than that, I will see you guys in approximately 6 days. And until then, one love, peace, and thanks for sitting on the first row.